What is the one thing you know now that you didn't know then? You go, wow, I wish I'd known that before.
That lateral force sets it all up.
Interesting.
Like we talk a lot about vertical force,
I was going
right?
to say that.
The big and sexy one, right?
Yeah.
It has the biggest influence, but 99% of players that have a vertical force problem, whether it be timing or magnitude, that is set up by the lateral force.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're back here with Ryan and we're talking about speed accelerators. You're one of the people that I go to when I'm interested in ground reaction force and how to apply that to performance, especially when it comes down to speed. As someone who's currently in a battle with 3 other guys at the Fraser Golf Institute, and 2 of them are here, and the other one's on holiday. So I've got an advantage on him already. He's on the beach somewhere. We're trying to get as much speed, and you saw a few of the videos that we had done, and we're trying to get as much speed as we possibly can. I'm at the disadvantage of not having any tools at my disposal, kind of, but we're going to use a pretty influential tool today. A company that you're part of, Smart to Move, force plate company. We're going to use that to unlock a few of these secrets today.
You feel like you're at a disadvantage. Our advantage is right back there.
Exactly, exactly. Well, talk to me a little bit about that, because we've had one session on the channel before with a friend and with Ryan Hawley, who's an incredible, source of knowledge when it comes to this sort of stuff.
He's really good.
And our audience, surprisingly to us, we thought we might be dipping or crossing a line into the too technical. Our audience loved it, awesome. And you guys gave us great feedback. We actually, Cody and Casey and I were at Brampton Golf Club one day, and we were stopped by a guy who came over and said like how much he loved that stuff. So our audience and our little niche is in this stuff. Awesome. So let's full throttle go into it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So I guess first thing we'll do then, let's just hit a shot. Okay. We're gonna take that capture, we'll flip it over, we'll get it on TV. Got it. And then we'll dive into it and we'll see kind of where your opportunities lie.
Ryan, how long have you been using force plates?
I've been using force plates for coming up on 2 years now.
Good. What did you know? What is the one thing you know now that you didn't know then? You go, wow, I wish I'd known that before.
That lateral force sets it all up.
Interesting.
Like we talk a lot about vertical force,
I was going to say that. Push
the big
up.
and sexy one, right?
Yeah.
It has the biggest influence, but 99% of players that have a vertical force problem, whether it be timing or magnitude, that is set up by the lateral force. And it's funny, we mentioned Dr. Tyler Sandiford, and it's something that him and I have talked about where it's like, it's the hidden one because it generates the least amount. Yeah. But it sets into motion a lot of things. And that one Martin Borgmeyer drill that we talked about, when we dive into a little bit, we're going to talk about the lateral force component of it as well. It's
funny when you say, about the invisible. That was actually the title that I was thinking of when I was thinking about this video and what we would do together. I was actually thinking about calling this invisible forces, because I think when people see the best players in the world, certainly the faster players, especially these young college players that are built like me, they're slight, and they live in the gym, but they are slight. Where do they get 190 ball speed from? And that's why I think, I call it the invisible forces, because it's not through exertion. Right. They're creating it through elite movement. So
and I think a lot of times when we look at it from a 2D perspective, we assume just because someone jumps, they're in the air, that must mean that they have this incredible power. But sometimes some of the fastest in the world, their feet barely move. And that's why it's not even a good guess looking at 2D video, because also the jump or the impact, that's the result. And everything that's happened beforehand is what has set that up. So when I see a player going, oh, I just got to jump at impact, I'm like, that's the worst advice, because you have no idea where or when or how. So they're an incredible technology. They're starting to become more accessible, but it's like a whole new language. But I think for many, it shines a really bright light on, you're looking for more power or you're wondering where your issues are coming from. This interaction with the ground is really telling us what you're doing.
I love that.
TrackMan tells us what the ball and the club are doing. This is going to tell us what the golfer's doing.
Okay.
So we'll do our toes, heels when you're ready. Go ahead. Awesome. And I'm ready when you are.
There's a golf course swing. I think I said to you a second ago.
Yes, you did, yeah.
I can kind of creep down into the low 50s, but I know I'm capable of being in the mid 60s. There is exactly it right there.
Well, I'm glad that we have that one.
Me
because
too.
then that's the one that we're working on. That's the one that we're trying to fix, right? So I guess when we look at, so right now, a lot of info on the TV.
Yeah.
Right? We've got your golf swing in the top left. We've got some vectors and a map of your feet, and then we've got the graphs at the bottom. We're going to break it down a few different ways. So first thing that we're going to look at is we're going to look at it from a foot perspective. And I guess I should preface with this. When we look at different lines and colors, so we don't get confused, remember that red is always right.
Right.
Red is your right foot.
Got it.
First thing I'm looking at before we get into anything crazy is just where do you set up? This is giving me a very crystal clear view of where the force is in your foot, right? So we're a player right now, whether you believe it or not, and we'll make sure we go right to the moment. On that swing, right, when you took the club back, you're in your heels. And you're in your heels maybe more than you thought.
Yeah.
And we think back to last lesson when we talked about that thrust, and we talked about why do we thrust?
Right.
If you're only on your heels, you've only got one way to go. So a couple things I'm looking at here. I'm looking at the split between left and right, and I'm also looking at where we are in our heel, or where we are kind of toe heel. As we start to move into our backswing, we get to this position here, which is a little bit past P2. And again, we see that we're still buried in our heels.
Especially in the lead foot. Wow.
Especially that left foot. And then now we go top of backswing, and now is when I'll take a peek at, so we're at the top of our backswing. We've got 66% of our weight, or sorry, 66% of our pressure in our trail leg. And like, we're deep in our heels, and especially that right foot, you're on the outside of your foot.
Yep.
Right, I know that soccer and badminton probably did us dirty here, but I'm guessing part of our way to optimize some speed is gonna be even just from step to top of the backswing, let's load the foot a little bit differently. So now when we look at it from a graph view, so we've got the three lines here. We've got our brown line, we've got our yellow line, and then we've got our orange line. That brown line is lateral force, that's our side to side. That yellow line is our vertical torque, which is the way that we're rotating around our center of pressure. And then also at the top, we have our orange one. And it was interesting because usually when we're looking at all three of these, we should see pretty big gaps between all three of them. And you mentioned that was your golf course swing.
That was very much a golf course swing.
And we'll go through my sequence here in a moment, but the first thing that I look at, you said it was a golf course swing. And I see peak vertical force at 155% of your body weight.
Right.
That's below the threshold that we're looking for. And let's just call a spade. As a smaller guy, that percentage is really low relative. If you weighed twice as much as you did, 155% would be quite a bit of force. So that's something that we're always going to look to. So someone comes in now, and what do we do at force plates? There's we always talk about the kinematic sequence, right? We want lower, we want upper, we want arms, we want hands. From a ground force perspective, there's a kinetic sequence. To be as efficient as possible, we want lateral to happen to peak first, that side to side. We want that rotational to peak second, so we can translate to that vertical third. So first thing I'm doing is I'm hopping on here and saying, okay, when is Ian's brown line, or when is that lateral force peaking? And right now, that lateral force is peaking as you start the downswing.
Yep.
By my definition, we're a couple frames too late there. Because especially if we look at this visual now, you've started your downswing and you still have 72% of your pressure in your right foot and also in the outside of your right foot. Yep. We've got a lot of work there to do there. The next one that we're looking at is that vertical torque, that yellow line. When does that yellow line peak? And that peaks around left arm parallel, which is pretty close to our threshold. But based on the ones that we've seen, that yellow peak, to me, that's your biggest peak. You're a more rotational based player than you are maybe a jumper.
Right.
And then when we go to that vertical force peaks at a good time, but there's just not enough gas there, right? We're missing some horsepower. And I think part of that could be if we start transition with too much pressure on the trail, we're too far back there, you're gonna spend too much of your energy trying to get onto that lead side. But the interesting one as well, if we look at when you start to apply those forces, and we look at when you peak that vertical force, right? When you're jumping the highest, or when you're pushing the hardest, we look at what it looks like on your left foot. And it looks like, again, we've got that roll down the outside. And then now we go to this view, and we say, okay, when we're pushing the hardest, again, you're on the outside of your left foot. The 2 times you're applying the most force in your golf swing on each foot, you're on the outside.
Which is really interesting because right now, during our workouts, so we've started to do, Aaron and I, we started doing all of our workouts with shoes off, because when I wear shoes, I'm like that. I'm outside the foot, inside the foot, there's no stability in the ankle. And when I look at this, I'm like, this feels like my workout. Yeah. That it literally feels like I have no stability, or less than I would like.
And the greatest analogy is if we think of whether we're trying to do a lateral jump side to side or a vertical jump, just try to jump as high as you can. Think what part of the foot we're using. Yeah. Basketball, badminton, those sports are dynamic, so we're not thinking about our foot. But we know if we were to measure it, we're loading that ball of the foot, right? Like we're looking to see, we've got to be living in this part of the foot, right? At least somewhere in the pad there, at least on the inside of the foot, because we're living in that side to side for certain, which I believe has got some gas left in the tank. So the analysis of our swing right now, we have a vertical force magnitude problem. Yeah. We got to learn how to push hard. Our timings are pretty close. We got to learn how to push harder. Okay. At setup, it looks like you're really in your heels. And then when your right foot peaks, right, you're just so far on the outside of that right foot. And then when your left foot peaks, you're on the outside. Oops, we're going to go this way. You just get on the outside of that left foot again. So right now, what I like about the plates and the portability is I want to know what it feels like for you to be on the inside of your feet. You might not even know what that feels like. So go ahead and set up for me. And I'll give you a drill that I use a lot. Okay, perfect. So now when we look up at the TV, this is you live in real time. So if you go ahead and set up for me right now, if we look up at the TV, do you have the ability, like, can you get on the inside of that foot, even just statically?
So if I relax, that's me relaxed.
Yeah, for sure.
If I try and just tilt the ankles in slightly, that's when the pressure kind of gets a little bit more central. But if I kind of relax both feet, and if I don't look at the screen for a second, that's where I end up.
Because a visual that I like to use a lot is so to your point, you said when you relax, you fall out, right?
I can really feel that now.
Part of that is shoe design, which you and I are probably both guilty of, right? You just look at the shoe design, right? And you look at the difference, and oftentimes that's what a lot of shoes look like, so we've got to work with it, unless we're going to start playing barefoot all the time. What I want you to do, let's get the legs involved in this swing. Okay. And the thing that I want to do right now is if you look up at the vectors right now, the blue and the red, they're pointing straight up. Yep. If we start to get those vectors tilting more in terms of the direction that we're applying the force, I think we can start to get our feet a little bit more involved in the swing, especially getting them in the right spot. So the analogy is I want you to feel, Ian, like when you get set up, like I want you to feel like you're going to take your feet and you're trying to screw them in the ground, twisting both of them, like both of them are going externally. And as soon as you did that, we saw the vectors do boop. We saw them start to tilt in. So we relax and then we engage. Interesting. And we see it definitely more in that blue. Actually, no, those are two very different right there than what we had before. Yep. And from a muscle recruitment standpoint, I'm assuming Our hamstrings are on, our glutes are on.
Everything.
They're firing, right? Go back to relax. Oftentimes now, we're blaming the ankle. Oh, I get on the outside of my ankle. Well, if we're not using our legs, as soon as you start to move this over here, it's not really, it's not like a very visual sway, but it's starting to pull us off the golf ball.
Totally.
So let's go ahead again and get set up for me. And then this time when you're ready, we're really gonna feel like kind of ripping the towel. That is different. That is, now make just a backswing for me. Right, we're probably at the top there. And I know you make rehearsal swings a lot, right? And you're probably oftentimes thinking about all this stuff here. What do the legs feel like right now? What do the feet feel like? They're working.
They're working, really working. Yeah.
If we want to get more out of our vertical force, we need the legs working. And if we can get them working early in the swing, hopefully we have them working late in the swing as well. The
amount of muscle recruitment that's going on there is remarkable. And that's the difficult thing when we talk about invisible forces. You guys can't see, maybe you can in my face because I'm kind of screwing my face up a little bit, like trying to, grind a little bit more in this, but that's not something anyone can see, is how much is Rory McIlroy digging those, heels in and feeling that outward pressure. Yeah. No one sees that.
The only way you can see it would be after Rory, or Bryson would be a great example. You look at after they hit 30 drivers on the driving range, you look at the turf where their feet was, right? Where it's destroyed, and because that person, but not everyone does that. But to your point, someone can't get out there and say, oh, I think I'm generating enough force. We have no way of knowing that. And even for you, we looked at the ankles first and we think we have more in the tank. And if you're going, geez, Ryan, I normally don't feel this much muscle recruitment, I think we're already laying the foundation, maybe getting some things to fire a little bit more.
Okay, love it.
You want to hit one?
Okay, let's do it. And we're going to play a little bit of a game with it. We're going to do a little bit of a ladder drill with Ryan. I talk about the ladder drill a lot in that it's kind of ladder drill, but it's also 3 strikes and you're out. So we're going to try and play this game where we're going to try and layer speed accumulators on top of each other, and we're starting at a pretty low baseline, 151. I call it my gamer speed. The one before that was 155. Wasn't that quick either. So we're going to see where we can get that to. 102 or 103 club. Let's see where we can get that club to by the end. Well, that was 2 miles an hour for nothing. That was absolutely free.
Look at the difference in your setup.
Yeah, you talked about the kind of pad of the foot being more involved, where we want the pressure.
Because especially for players that kind of get deep in their heels, they can't do this drill. That's what the drill would look like.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got you to feel that, we've loaded the right part of the foot just by understanding, okay, if I want to screw these feet in the ground, how am I going to do that?
Can we ask these two to leave the room just while we and I are going over all these key fundamentals of speed? I think I saw Corey bring his notepad out a second ago.
Yeah. Let me write this down.
I know.
Because part 1, we want to stack as many speed accelerators as possible. Use the right part of the foot.
Yeah.
That was a layup for you in the setup department.
I mean, I kind of almost want to say, like, it's not laziness, because to be honest, it's not something I've ever done live, but it just seems like something that, with a tiny bit of effort, like all setup things, like having no excuses with having the wrong grip, the wrong setup. This is another one of those easy, low-hanging fruit pieces.
100%. So when we look at the befores, we're going to look at lateral force at P2. Mm-hmm. You've generated 3.5% of body weight. So lateral force perspective, let's say you weigh 150 pounds, 3% of that is not a whole lot.
Wow.
That's how little we get out of the legs at the start. And if I just go in the graph specifically where we just look at, so this is just your lateral force, right?
Yep.
Before that club starts moving, we don't have a lot going on there, right? Our total is 0.3, meaning they're basically working even against each other. As we start to work in the backswing, we see that yellow line work up and we see that yellow line peak.
Yep.
and we know that it peaks a little too late. I think I'd like to see, I hope, if we get the legs fired up early, I don't want that yellow to be so abrupt. Okay. Let's build the lateral as we kind of get the right part of the foot working. And now when we go to the last shot that we just hit, which was this one right here, we're gonna see that yellow line again. It's not as much of a spike. And when we get to P2, although the total is not much different, before your right foot was only at 10% or 11%. Now it's at 15%. So we know that we turned it on a little bit more. We're starting to recruit a little bit more. And as we work to the top of our golf swing, the timing is fairly similar. And at the top of the backswing, we've got that right foot applying 20% of our body weight in lateral force. And when we look at our foot view, right now, right foot, we're doing it from a very different part of the foot. Yep. And as we start to work our way into the downswing, you'll start to work towards the toe, but at least in that swing there, we did a pretty good job loading a different part of that right foot. And you said we hit we hit a decent shot there that felt like we had a little bit of free power, right? Yep. The rest of our timings were a little bit off, but I was happy with the result that we seen there. Do you understand that concept of lighten the feet up?
Do.
Okay, go ahead and set up for me now. So now we're gonna go back to this view, and let's go ahead and get set up and give me that rip the towel feeling again. So we're gonna get the legs turned on. Now go ahead and make a backswing for me. And what we notice for you, if you look up at the TV right now, this is something you do quite a bit. We're doing something different with the right foot, but that left foot oftentimes, you're getting loaded like into the heel of that left foot. We're looking for right heel, that you know where we're going with this, right? But now it's that awareness. Right. Because if we think, again, if we're putting ourselves in a position to jump or to apply as much force as we can, it's not gonna be from there. So we're gonna rip the towel, and I think when you rip the towel, you do a pretty good job. You're in the correct spot on this foot, but then now as we make our backswing, it's being able to maintain. That's an awesome exaggeration right now. And if we were to add a little bit of feedback because you say, hey, Ryan, maybe I don't want my heel or I don't want my toes to come off the ground, we'll put a force pedal under your foot. Okay. We'll go under the heel. This one. And just say, okay, right now, let's just keep contact on that pedal. Got it. All the way through this rehearsal swing. That's different. Yep. But I can tell right now that even at the start, the understanding of where you are in your feet.
There's a little find in it.
Yeah, absolutely. One that I like a lot is, especially for you, if I stand on this alignment rod right now, for you, when you start, they're both on this side, and when you get to the top, they're both on that side. And a visual I can give you right now is to say, okay, at the top of this backswing, you want to feel, I'll exaggerate it, but you want to feel like this. Right? And I can, every time you try to do one, they both kind of tend to follow each other a little bit. And then that inability to kind of work the heel toe and just work the side to side, that's not helping. That's definitely not helping the cause, because ultimately, if we are in the wrong spot of our right foot, and then the wrong spot of our left foot, that right foot, I think, is going to hurt our timing. Yep. And then that left foot is going to hurt that application, or that magnitude part. So if you go ahead and set up for me, we'll go. I'm going to take this away actually for a second, because we're going to find it. Okay. You go ahead and hop on there for me. And right now, just that feeling of, ideally at the start, you're pushing right through the middle of that alignment rod. Yeah. And now we go to top of backswing, you're going to be left ball, right heel. And I don't want to call it a poor man's force plate, but it's kind of a poor man's force plate. You can use an alignment rod. You can buy like a wooden meter stick. And I would challenge people to just set up this, although it feels like we're sponsored by Home Depot, we're not sponsored by Home Depot yet, would just be to get set up to a golf shot, right? And right now find out when you give me your generic setup, where are you?
Yeah.
And if I have a player saying I'm both, like my heels aren't even on the ground, or vice versa, we're not even set up in the most efficient way.
Right.
We want to be right through the middle of whatever it is. And as we start that backswing, right, we're starting to work that feel because we're trying to load the right heel and the left ball of foot.
Even difficult, you know, just letting the front of that right foot doesn't, the first couple of times I've done that, it didn't want to come off the ground.
Totally.
Yeah, interesting.
And the only thing I'll caution, because everyone's going to go home and buy a meter stick, this is a very early in the backswing thing.
Yeah.
Don't get to the top of your backswing.
Yeah, right.
Like that. This is where we're trying to set the line of pressure. That's ultimately what we're trying to adjust here. We're trying to set the line of pressure to get into that right heel earlier. So it loads the ball to the left foot so we can use it in the downswing. So it's a very simple check of how we're doing. Because now, so if we're stacking accumulators, because we've got to beat the guys here, right? We've got to increase our speed. We're going to light the legs up and set up. And then we're really going to work that line of pressure feel as we hit these shots. That was pretty cool.
It felt very different. I wasn't sure what was going on.
You were the ball like and I let you do it because I could tell even your brain was in your feet there for a few seconds.
I was really thinking about, okay, feel like, what am I feeling? Okay, so I've got to feel like I'm a little bit, I let my weight travel forward a little bit. You know, the heel can come up a little bit if it wants. And
yes.
I was kind of trying to find my way a little bit.
So if we go to that last shot that you just hit, that's a cool spot to be if we want to start to load the feet in the right spot.
And those are easy wins. I mean, already, because you talked about, if we rewind this session and you go, we kind of want your weight around, you know, that pad of that left foot. Like, we're right there very quickly, very easily with a little awareness rather than too much, you know, okay, go away and work on this for 2 weeks and come back and show me. Like, we can do this straight away.
Especially when the feel versus real, we know when it's in motion, we're not very good at it.
Yeah.
But when we're static and you give someone a challenge like that alignment rod or that yardstick, someone knows what side they're on.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes back to that thing that we talk about, or that I talk about a lot. We've got to fix the things that are wrong early in the swing, right? Because again, it didn't visually look like it. The 3 shots you hit before we got started today, I was shocked how all 3 of them, you were buried in your heels, especially that left foot.
Totally.
And then I knew that had us at a little bit of a disadvantage. So now we're loading ourselves up in a different spot. And now, especially as we make our downswing, just want to keep an eye on, as we start to make our downswing, right? Yes, we're still not exactly where we want to be in the right foot, but we've got some improvement there for sure, right? We're at least more on the inside.
Yep.
And then also that left foot is more in the ball of the foot. As an exaggeration, that was an incredible change between the shot that you had hit previous to that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Cool.
And then also the one that I looked back at, the last one, or the shot that you just hit there, when we looked at vertical force alone, our vertical force got up to 168, and our timing was still pretty good there.
Right.
So that was a win as well.
What's that on the percentage of body weight? What do you see the best players at? You know, over 200?
The threshold that we're looking for, like the threshold that we have with drivers, 175.
Okay.
But if I look at all of my competitive players, unless they're like a hockey defenseman that just works so hard side to side, it's got to be 200.
Wow.
It's got to be 200%. And especially if we're on the thinner side, need to be a little bit higher.
Even north of that.
Yeah, like I've got a young guy. He's 11 years old. His driver club head speed's 95 miles an hour, which is cruising pretty good for 11 years old. And like he's in the 230, 240 range. Yeah. In vertical force. So it's an important component, but for you, it's not just that vertical force. It's the 2 things we did beforehand that give it the opportunity.
Got it.
Because now the next time you go in the gym and you're barefoot again, or next time you're hitting golf balls, or even hit golf balls barefoot, let's load the foot properly.
Yeah.
A lot of incredible tech here that we've got numbers and stuff going everywhere, but this gives us such a crystal clear visual of where we are in that foot. And for you, it was that setup. Right? And if we remember that visual there, that is you at setup on the shot that you just hit. And if I go back to the one that you hit, which I believe was this one here.
Like, I can't tell you how much it feels like I am tilted inward when I'm getting that feeling of ripping the towel. Like, I literally feel like I'm really in the insides of my instep.
Which is an awesome spot to be, but also it was funny. I had a player once that we were having a conversation. We got into force plates, and he was similar to you. And I watched how he was standing.
Yeah.
And like when you're bored, when we're bored, right? And the shoes don't help in some of those different things, but that is just your default. It's similar to a lot of players when we look at like players that have bad posture. When they show up to bad posture in their golf swing, they showed up and their trunks tucked in because that's kind of how they walk in normal life. But like it's hard to say how big of a difference that it is or to articulate it. That's a crazy difference in terms of what part of the foot you're loading. Try to jump as high as you can off of that spot, right? We'll pick you up off the floor. So that was really good. Let's do another one.
Okay.
And just because I'm not going to give you the third accumulator yet, because you thought about that one for a second. So I know that, and if we need it, we can get on the towel or we can get on the alignment rod, and you can get that feeling as well. Okay, so we run through our checklist right now. Here we are at setup. Different, right? Different in a good way. We go to top of, you tried, right? You got on the ball the left foot. We retreated a little bit, but then we got back into it. So again, these are very different because now you're in a different part of your left foot, which we can tell is probably not a spot we've been in at least recently, right? And then also we're getting a little bit more on the inside of the right foot. And then when we jump ahead now, vertical force at 182.
Oh, interesting. I was going to say that one actually felt pretty fast.
So, and this kind of goes into our next one about talking about the hands and different things like that. These are all different components, right? The first thing we need is we just need more force for the brain to kind of learn how to self-organize or how to use it.
Right.
But that one there at the start, when we were I believe in the high 150s body weight percentage, that was almost 30% more and timing at a nice spot.
Right.
So I think right now we know that the pursuit for you to become as efficient as possible, there's some opportunities in the setup and the part of the foot that we load. Okay. We talked about this drill that you were doing when you had posted a video online, kind of this Martin Borgmeier type-ish feel. Can we try it on this next shot?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because the thing I was curious about when I saw that video online, when you had posted it, I was like, okay, I wonder how he's moving in his golf swing. And when I saw you do that move, I saw the exact same thing I see right now, which is in concept, I think it's a great drill. But with the lack of feedback, I'm going, but I know that's not getting us off. We got to jump in speed, but that's me going, we can get that move to actually go faster.
The heel part of when I do that drill is a problem. So we did our last checkpoint, and I actually felt like I was pretty fast that day, and we'd hit a couple warming up, and I was getting some good numbers. The minute I'd done it for real, fell into the back, fell into my heels, kept falling backwards off the shot, had no stability. Couldn't ever realize the output potential.
So this is a great matchup and something that everyone at home goes through. We see a drill online, this must be the one for me. For you being able to measure up kind of what we normally do, that drill, at least the way that you move, it can help some parts, but I think if not done properly, there's more in the tank in that drill alone.
Yeah.
But as soon as we start the rocking and the bouncing, now if we flip the perception to, it's still going to be on the inside balls of the feet. You might lose some of that freedom, but there's probably a good between. Because what you did right there, right, when you kind of let the left foot come up, and you let it, and I bet you sometimes when you let it come down, those toes don't even touch the ground. It still stays in that heel. Because then if we take that exaggeration, if we're trying to get into this, you come up, but when you come down, it's the ball of the foot on the left foot that is landing and hitting.
Another one of the reasons we started working out with no shoes on is because when we do anything that involves, especially rotary force, what we saw is immediately my toes would come up. I would not use the big toe to grip the ground and really kind of dig in. You know, we were almost seeing the opposite. I would flare back into the heel, the ankle would sort of destabilize, and then we'd have much less force. It'd be,
we know that because you just said it, but also in the gym, you take that yardstick or that alignment rod, even with just some of your gym movements, to say, I'm trying to stay on the toe side of the stick.
Okay.
And then now I'll put this back in for feedback to say when we land, you better be crushing this guy down.
Got it.
So really crush the orange pedal when that ball of foot comes down. More.
I'm still thinking, I think a little bit of that, trying to kind of get the weight that way. So crush the pedal when we go, what point do you want me to kind of really push down back?
So right now, so you're doing this.
Yeah.
You're landing, pausing.
Yeah.
And then going.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Correct.
Can we take the pause out?
Yeah, that's something I always see when I see it in video. I'm like, I lose so much of the...
Yeah, because like that moment in time is you've built up some energy.
Totally.
And then you've just kind of, it would almost kind of feel like a counter rotation, right? The club's out here, and as it starts, boom. I think that would get some energy.
If I do a counter rotate, so if I just do a swing with the ball's teed up there and I go...
Yes.
I'll go immediately to 165 ball speed. Immediately. If I have the club swing forward, just because I don't have the pause where I have to then recruit the energy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's a wasted motion essentially.
Right, because imagine now we light up the legs and we work into a counter rotation and we do that with that stomp. I think we're gonna try tweaking that drill. We're gonna light the legs up. And we're not gonna pause. You're gonna crush that pedal as we're making our backswing.
Going, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I want to see what one of those look like.
A bit shut.
So the graphs always look a little bit funnier when we've got the dynamic motion of everything going on, right? But if we're just looking back at, all right, what's kind of these key characteristics we're talking about in your golf swing? Actually, we'll have to do, because it picked up your right foot when you were kind of in the process. I got your foot detect while you were bouncing around. Vertical force again at 189, right? So another little increase again. We got 108, which is a little bit more again as well.
Definitely good. Yeah, definitely can feel a lot more energy out of that. No doubt about it.
Okay, let's do it again.
Okay. See, I'm sorry. How much I fall back.
Too much gas, that's why. 110. Uh-oh. Vertical force, 215%. Timing at a good time. And, what a What a great student you are. Look what part of the left foot we're pushing off of.
That's interesting.
As well. And we just kind of go back and hit our backswing checkpoint to see. So this was you landing.
Yeah.
And we still get into that left heel, but we work towards the front of the foot in a way different time, right? We're still on the outsides a little bit. That's not going to be an easy one, right? In terms of getting us off the outside of our foot. We have more awareness of it now, which is important. But a little bit of gains in whirl, a little bit less on the outside, a little bit more loading the correct spot of the foot. Every swing so far now we've optimized, or we're starting to optimize that feeling of that drill. They keep going up and up and up, and the speed keeps ticking up and up and up.
Very cool to see that force magnitude going up.
Yeah, because if we're 3 strikes row, we don't have our first strike yet, Ian. That's the...
No, we're accumulating speed. That's what we want. And this is probably about at the time right now, Ryan, we're at plateau right now, is I can go from 105 to 110, and normally I do it with like I'll put the screen off and I'll just have club head speed up there, might have ball speed from time to time.
Yeah.
Generally right now I can't push past here. So this will be interesting for what pushes past here.
Because now this goes back to the thing we talked about earlier about, so we have a beautiful sequence, right? Or our sequence is improving, so what? Now we're in a position, because a lot of times we think, well, ultimately the arms and hands have a job, right? And the ability to release that golf club or to unleash the power that we have, right? If we were to have a series on how to swing the club as slow as possible, take all your players who do this, and that would be that series. But now that we're starting to peak it, it's interesting. You said that you were starting to plateau speed perspective.
Yeah.
Now that we're using the ground a little bit differently, I'd love to challenge you to, okay, we've got this different understanding. We've hit our plateau. Can we optimize this feeling? And now for you, that last accumulator of, I need the hands to get this club head to the golf ball.
Right.
We're in a different spot at setup. We're loading the feet differently in the golf swing to produce more. Now can we use it as well?
Okay.
Caught our first strike.
And that one, and the thing is, like, that one felt way better than the previous one. I really felt how solid it hit.
I think the quality of the contact might have helped as well.
I think that one felt like it was right on the button, but still 206.
That is 206.
Okay.
That is 206. That is on the correct part of the foot.
Yeah.
Those are 2 very good ones in a row.
Much more about that felt good.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like ball speed went up a few miles an hour there as well, which is nice. So the realization of the speed, like that one felt like I would call it more of a true one. Yeah. The other one, maybe I kind of flashed myself to kind of get the club to release some speed, but it didn't feel like it was in the right place. That one felt really good.
And I think, let's say you don't hit another golf ball today.
Yeah.
And you walk out of here right now knowing that I gained an understanding of where I need to be in my feet, but also we've measured the fact that you're now getting your lower body to produce 40–50% more force.
It's a lot.
That would be, I would love to see what that intent or what the quality of those strikes would do with our speed as we continue to say, I've got a much deeper understanding of what to do here. Yeah. Let's keep stacking session on top of session on top of session. I believe getting closer to even just setting up and using your legs closer to what their maximum capacity is.
Yeah. I mean, I've always joked, like, the only thing my legs do for my golf swing is hold me upright. They're not really coming to the party with much to offer. And
I know that you know that because you've been on force plates before. But sometimes the interesting part is when someone comes in and they say that they feel like they use their lower body. I had a gentleman last spring come in. We gained 8 miles an hour drive, or a 7-iron club head speed in 10 minutes. Once we went through the vertical force, he was producing like 110%. And he thought he was using his legs. But being able to match up, because you said we can't see it, but this is what it actually looks like and feels like, and we're able to measure it as well.
Okay, first strike. Are we staying there in terms of just trying to kind of get more speed out the hands? Anything else?
As long as we continue to carry 200% vertical force at the right time, I don't really want to mess with that. If we can continue to maintain it, let's keep making swings with your body producing that outcome.
That amount, okay. The other cool thing about this that kind of tells me that I'm still like, and everybody's the same, you guys are definitely the same. I have so much more in the tank because I've gained 30 yards of carry in this session and I'm still hitting it straight, which tells me I'm not trying hard enough.
You were looking for a title of this video that I gained 30 yards, I'm still hitting it straight. That's because sometimes, and this is so contrary to a lot of the things that we do, and it goes back to sometimes our conversation around using things like training clubs and lighter weighted clubs and different things like that. You're looking saying, Ryan, what should I do right now? That's the shot I just hit. I wanna keep going. You have not broken through that plateau. We're not doing, because I haven't seen you lose control of the ball flight. I haven't seen you fall over. I haven't seen you get in the air. Like, so all those levers right now, because oftentimes we are so technically taught into these slow motion position feel holds where it's like, maybe we even get away from this Martin feel, but sometimes that analogy of let's be an athlete, and I'm telling you to get your vertical up, and if that has to feel like I need you to jump, we have all the data which is able to show that we're using the different part of the foot. And if that feels like you need to work, your body needs to work up so the club head can work down. If you said, Ryan, I need something a little bit more athletic than this, then I would say, Ian, let's jump. You haven't broken it enough. For me to be like, oh, I don't know, because we're losing too many things. And because we have the feedback, if this was a longer session, we would just spend more time testing the cues for you that would say, okay, what is going to get me to break through? We know lighten up the legs is one. We know the Martin drill with the correct part of the foot is number two. Another one that I like to do, actually I want to do this one because this is an interesting one in terms of like how quickly this needs to happen. So I'm going to take the driver away. And all what I want you to do, I'll have you stand on this side for me, is I just want you to jump off the plate. So I'll say go, and all what I want you to do is, that's it. Not as high as you can, not as low as you can. I just want you from here to jump off the plates.
Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
Is that bad? Is it good?
So that produced 207% vertical force by just going.
Wow, that's how little. That's crazy.
The reason why I did this example is because oftentimes when we think, I'll have to retract my previous statement. The problem with the jump analogy is when we take the basketball analogy, you're going to get there and you're going to go, right? Like you're just going to go you're going to load up like that little just motion right there, that little flick of energy, that produced 207% of your body weight. And it doesn't look like a lot, right? But that little motion, we just see it spike like crazy. So I did that to show you now when we say, okay, this last one, or this last accumulator, when we're going to talk about, I need you to really feel like we're trying to get as explosive as we can. The jump, it's not a big jump. It's a fast jump.
Got it.
Sometimes we hear the word impulse, or people talk about the term impulse, and that's an impulse that takes too long would be this analogy.
And I see that, like, anytime I'm sort of trying to get more jump, it's like, you know, there's a sink in, and then there's a kind of up.
And there's always an unweighting and different things like that, but then sometimes the problem becomes, like, that move right there, and if you think about it, you weren't even thinking about the arms there as you did that little move, but there they come down. If you can generate 200% of your body weight in the golf version, let's take out all the necessary movement, but it's that movement.
Yeah, and I think that more pronounced lateral combined with a stronger impulse is a great way to think about it rather than a jump. I think that's really, really good. That's where the sweet spot obviously lands for so many people of getting the lateral with that jump. Interesting. It's very different than the feel of actually trying to jump.
Yes, and that's why I'm glad I retracted the statement, because in that analogy, I would have probably did us a disservice here. Because especially with that test, that shows us that like we have the magnitude. I have people sometimes, Ian, they do this test and they can only produce 150%.
Right.
And then they wonder why they can't hit their driver further. It's like, well, we can't even do it in the most basic form. Yeah. So go ahead and say, we'll hit one, we'll hit another one. I'm gonna do a little reset here. You go ahead and get set up, and we want it right there, okay? $204 again.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. It did not feel bad at all.
We didn't I didn't get the full map of the foot, but I can just tell where that blue arrow is, right? We are obviously more towards the, or no, I did get it. We've lowered the top part of the plate there.
Yeah, no, it definitely felt good. I have a video of the fastest swing I ever made, and there's a kind of movement of the foot, but it's not jumping, and it felt quite like what this feels like. This kind of like, you know, impulse that, you know, my left foot kind of moves and lifts, but I'm not pushing off of it per se.
It's probably a little bit of what you're seeing here, this move.
Yeah.
But you also actually do it when you're doing your rehearsal swing here of the Martin drill. You're actually getting a little bit of that kind of that pushback.
Yeah.
People will try to create that artificially and say, oh, well, if I just drag my foot back, it'll make me go faster. For you, all these things are happening as a result.
Yeah.
And that's why, like Justin Thomas will see like this, right? We see long drive guys where they get this big rainbow going back. It's all created differently depending on the player. I don't think that no foot movement is bad, but it also doesn't mean that all foot movement is good.
Right.
But in your case, that little bit of reaction that you're feeling is probably a little bit of a feedback that if everything happened late in week, your feet aren't moving.
No, for sure. $109. And this is kind of what I've been seeing in practice as well. There's definitely, we're at that glass ceiling right now in the swing and the movement that I'm kind of like reaching 109 most sessions pretty comfortably.
Right.
And then anything kind of above that is taking, you know, something new, something else to kind of get that extra bit.
When you're thinking about using your feet in the downswing, are you thinking about one foot or the other?
Really only the left. And I think that's where I was going to lead that, because we do have another video in this series.
Okay.
I was going to lead that into, to me, the earlier push of the lateral. Like I get wide early, right? And I know there's this a bit of it's becoming a bit more trendy to be wide, or it used to be very trendy to be narrower. I have enough width. Yeah. I try to offset my width at times by moving a little bit more that way to get the club into the right spot. Yeah. One thing I never really get, and it's not physically incapable, because certainly the amount of lag and the amount of speed I can create in a practice swing, I never create that in a full swing. So my red swing, for example, in super speed would be like 132. Okay. Yeah. So it's high. And then I would go into swing my driver and I'd be like 109, 110. There's a big delta between when that thing's there and when it's not there.
And just the reason that I asked is because when I see you hit these shots and we look at the split here where, okay, that one there, we got to 199 and I see 153 left foot, 46 right foot. Yeah. This kind of goes back to before, I believe that you would just load outside the right heel and then just get on the right toes, right? There would never be a whole lot there. And I think that if you're a student of mine saying right now, Ryan, I got to see 111 miles an hour and I didn't see it today, was today a good session or not? We have more awareness of the foot and we're generating more vertical force. Yep. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, But I'm looking at this saying, I still believe that the biggest opportunity for you is to marry how you think you're moving your feet versus how you're actually moving your feet over and over and over.
Definitely.
It would probably also be a pretty cool case to get you, like, when you're training with a super speed set, to get those captured on force plates, because that delta, it's somewhere. And if it's measured there versus measured here, I'd be curious to see what it ends up
100%
actually looking like.
Yeah, no, I know, like I can see just the delivery just changes so much.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of like, I wish there was a way of measuring sort of muscle tension, because there's an amount of muscle tension that comes through the hands, wrists, and arms for me that I think also robs me of quite a lot of that speed. Once I get comfortable relaxing that, I see 2 or 3 miles an hour, you know, there as well from time to time. So, yeah.
And maybe the opportunity is as well, like you said, you do this all the time indoor, but when you get outdoor, you believe that your gamer speed on course is like way less.
Way less, yeah.
102, 103, 104.
Yeah.
The lowest hanging fruit may not be to get this from 109 to 112 indoors,
Yeah.
but to get you from 102 to 106 outdoors.
Yeah.
And that could be some of the things we talked about today that ultimately goes into, what does your pre-shot routine look like? How do we sort through our to-do list?
Yep.
And to your point earlier, we don't believe we did a whole lot with our lower body, and there's some low-hanging fruit there, but how do we bring some of those into transferring into a shot on the golf course, where I know you want to see it and you want to take money off the guys in the series to gain the most speed, but you want to see 107 on the golf course when the ball goes 20 yards farther.
100%. And then getting back to being on the golf course, you know, 115, 116, you know, because I know that's where it was. 100% know I can do that again. I've just lost a little bit of the sort of awareness of how to do it again, the organization of where the forces, you know, occur and that type of thing. I used to be very, very good at that. And I think in trying to tidy up the structure, because the structure was a little bit sloppy, I kind of defaulted back into my tendencies, which is a little bit to overthink how it got there. And I lost a little bit of being the athlete that I think everyone needs. If you're going to be fast, you've got to be an athlete.
100%. And also the trap of I used to. This is the person that's in front of me now.
Yeah.
And I think that ability to say, we still know that you have the ability, but instead of dragging what we used to think about, here's what I am right now, let's give the best intent I can right now.
Yeah.
Knowing that, to your point, we have some of those components, but the awareness of our power producers have maybe been swapped out by the awareness of our positions.
For sure. For sure. Great stuff. Awesome. Well, there's definitely food for thought. And I think when I'm less conscious and aware of how the feet need to be in structure and stuff like that, I can see that becoming 11, 12.
It'd be great. Like, I think if the things we talked about today, when those start to become second nature and we know we're using it more at setup, and if you continue to produce vertical force at 190 to that 210 range, that's a heck of a lot more than what we showed up with at the start, which is not much legs in 150 or 160%.
Yeah, that percentage of body weight factor is huge. That's
one of the biggest.
It's a big one. Well, guys, hopefully you've got a little idea again as how useful of a tool force plates are, and obviously in the right hands and with the right coach, being able to extract the information that you guys need to benefit from it. We spend so much time with launch monitors that things like club path, angle of attack, club face, all these things become second nature. But one thing I love about doing force plate sessions is I don't think about positions at all, which is really good for me. It's kind of therapeutic actually to make some swings on a force plate, because the last thing I'm conscious of is where's my golf club at P2. There's a time and place for that, like we saw earlier on, but it is really, really good for me, and I think it'd be good for you guys too, to not just be trying to strive towards an aesthetically pleasing golf swing. Make it effective and efficient, and make it, you know, my old coach Kevin Craggs used to say to me, Fraz, you've got a swing that's built for show, but it's not built for go. And now we're kind of showing you a little bit of what that means. You know, nice positions, but really wasn't really built to do anything. Using these keys and cues, we're seeing a lot more force come out the golf swing, and it's all with Ryan's help. So, guys, I would sort of emphasize that you go do this. Go and spend some time with a coach who has technology like this, and you can see what your DNA and force print is on technology like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff, pal. Thank you. All right, guys, light the comments up below. We want to know what you think about sessions like this. It's probably going to be one you have to watch 2 or 3 times because there'll be parts that you have to focus on every time you go to the range. So come back and watch it, bookmark your favorite bits and the ones that you think apply to you, and then come back and let us know in the comments below how it worked for you and did you see gains in your own game. That's what we want to hear, and that's what we're all about here at the Fraser Golf Institute. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.